Hey, what's up? Spears Milsim. Uh, I've had a few drinks, and frankly, I just want to feel like talking today. Not that everyone would want to hear my voice, but just to put it out there. This particular session is on being someone of value to the Airsoft community. Now, what does that mean? Yes, I guess this is my Spears Milsim propaganda, but let's just think about that. How to be someone of value? Also, some people mention how do you start or run a team. So perhaps that may be topics I might cover as well. So the first thing is how to be someone of value. You're a new guy to the community. You just got into it. So what do? You go to games, right? Go to games, you meet people, you be social, you ask questions. You're someone with an open mind. You're someone who does not like to argue with people and about who's right and wrong and such. You're someone who generally has an open mind about things. You always call your hits. That goes without saying. Being an honest player, not yelling at people if they do not call their hits. That, in my opinion, is very unprofessional, very unsportsmanlike. And it just demonstrates your immaturity, and it says right there in the rules, hey, do not call other people's hits. My personal policy for when someone does not call their hit, by the way, what I would simply do is shoot at them more, right? I would shoot at them more. Or call a ref. That's the standard, that's the SOP. You call a ref if they're not calling their hits. Do you think that if everyone yelled at him, hey bro, call your hits, that would actually do something? Then, I think it just adds to the unprofessionalism. Besides calling the hits, there's also some people have different philosophies of doing things, whether it's weapon manipulations or tactics and such, right? My take on that is that do what works for you. I'm sure you've heard that philosophy before, but whether you learn your stuff from Magpul Dynamics, you happen to take a local course, the team that you run with believes in a particular method, or maybe you've attended other team training courses. One thing to also consider is that, let's say you take an Airsoft training course versus a real steel training course. Now, supposedly you take an Airsoft course from a team that has been playing for quite a few years. They're going to have more tips for you as far as exactly what works for Airsoft within the engagement distances, what you can get away with, what you cannot get away with. Perhaps even what rules you may or may not be able to bend, right? For example, I've heard of teams who might stand up, and while they call their hit, they might block the rest of their teammates from getting hit. I've heard of teams doing the human shield, right? I've heard of teams once they call their hit, they try and congratulate someone else, and that's a phone call. Forget the phone call. They try and congratulate their enemy combatant while getting close to them, and then their friend comes in behind them and then shoots the enemy. Just all kinds of things that I've heard. I'm not that I'm condoning that. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, but that's a personal decision that you have to make as far as what you choose and will not choose to do, or to learn, or pick up, or to incorporate into your system, or your philosophy, your way of playing Airsoft. Now, if you take a real steel course, that might be a little different for you, right? You may or may not be able to translate that real steel mythologies into an Airsoft context. Although Airsoft and real steel, some degree of it is pretty interchangeable. How to be someone of value? If you, me personally, another way I contribute to the community each event I go to, I love taking photos. I love doing video. I have a contour helmet camera, right? Some people say, hey, why do you like taking a lot of photos and videos? Are you doing certain things just to get your footage? You know, just think about this. If it weren't for people doing a whole bunch of photography and video, then guess what? A lot of people would not get to relive that experience of that experience that you had. A lot of people would not be able to see what you've experienced. You would not be able to go back and watch a video or photos and say, hey, this is my experience. You know, this was a really fun game. You know, and hey, maybe some people like to do it for the attention or being an attention whore, but you know what? There are people out there like that. You know, if it weren't for people who like attention, you wouldn't have a bunch of entertainers, movie business, and whatnot. You know, maybe they're just passionate about doing shit like that, you know. And then people will ask you, hey, where's that photos that you took? Where's that video? Wow, it's awesome, you know. So some other ways to bring value. Of course, some people take it to the next level where they even organize events. They do training courses. These are all great things that help progress the Airsoft community, and we certainly commend those individuals who do that. Now, another thing I want to cover is a lot of people have asked me, hey, how do you start or join an Airsoft team? Well, here's my take on it. The first thing I'm going to talk about is that it's much, much easier to join an Airsoft team, right? It's so much easier. I've been joining teams and I've started a couple, and I've got to say that joining is much more easier. Why? Okay, what's the first thing you do to join a team? You check out, hey, what's the teams in my area, right? What teams are in my area? Can I go on an Airsoft forum and find teams in my area? Are there Facebook groups with teams in my area? Can I simply Google where I live? Like, for example, I might Google Airsoft Ohio or Airsoft Pittsburgh and whatnot. Airsoft New York. Will I find forums, groups available? Check it out. All right. Check out what their team requirements are. What you pretty much need to do to get on the team. But before you even make a decision to join a team, much like in a relationship, you really want to find out if you kind of click with that team. Is that team a young team? Is that team older team? Right? You want to make sure that a team is compatible with your values and, you know, what you like in that team, right? So yeah, go out there, meet those guys who are recruiting, find out if they have a recruiting process. Some teams might even not have a recruiting process, right? It's invite only. What does that mean, right? That team does not recruit officially. However, you have to be personally knowing individuals from that team, and they would, I guess, invite you to a training session or whatnot, you know. And I'm going to use a very popular team as an example. I'm sure I don't even have to mention their name. What some individuals have done to, and I'm going to use them as an example as far as how to join a team that does invitation only, right? You can't just say, hey, I want to join your team. That does not fly with these teams that do invite only. What I've seen is that these guys will run the gear of that team that they want to join, right? They will run exactly to the T, whether it's the type of helmet, the color balaclava, the loadout, what packs they run, the camouflage, etc. They will be on the same side at national operations with these guys. They will attend local games if they know that particular team's going to be there. If this team happens to host a public training session, they will make sure they will be at that training session, right? Because they want to absorb all the knowledge. They want to show that, hey, they're serious. And for that team, will look upon these individuals as perhaps candidates or support staff material, whatever, right? And they will, of course, get to know this team. Of course, they gotta act like, they're flirting with a really high value hot bitch or something. They're not gonna say, oh, hey, can I join your team? Just like you wouldn't tell a hot chick, like, hey, you want to go home with me tonight? That would totally fuck everything up. So they would probably just be cool about it. If they happen to invite you to this or that, that's cool. If not, just continue showing your value. And national operations, do not do this, okay? Do not creep on that team. That will just show that you're a creeper, all right? And they might, as a result, even get mad at you later for creeping on them. I've personally been in this situation. It's not a pleasurable experience. Now, I would not suggest that. You want to do it something where that if you happen to run into them and you're assaulting the same objective, then hey, it happens to do that. But do not creep on them, follow them, or whatnot, right? Of course, it's probably much easier if you just found a team that had an open recruiting process. Now, I think that teams who have an open recruiting process, they have a great thing going on. They're not saying, hey, holier than thou shit. They're just saying, hey, we'll consider you, stuff like that. I started a team back in the day. By back in the day, I mean last year. What we did is that we had an open recruiting process. Now, we had specific criteria as far as, who should join and whatnot. And, for example, if you're starting a team, the first thing you probably want to do is, what requirements do you have, right? Team requirements. Ours was fitness, right? They're generally fit. High operational tempo. They are free generally twice a month or so to attend local training, local games, and even national operations. You're going to make sure these individuals are nationally operations capable, because you're going to run into a lot of broke-ass dudes too. So if your team are into national operations, you want to make sure these guys are into that as well. Finances, right? You gotta afford the gear. If your team wants to run very team-specific gear, if you all want to run the same helmets, the same camouflage, the same plate carrier, at a minimum, I think that teams start out, they want to have a team camouflage color. All right. Now, helmets isn't a big thing, but you can all. I think that if you all chose to run the same headwear, whether it's helmets or boonie hats or whatnot, that would increase team uniformity. Now, backpacks, plate carriers, that's all something that could be loosened or could not, depending on how anal you want to be about it, right? Weapon type could be important. Then again, is it something that you place high value on or not? Right? Personally, I prefer if everyone run M4s, but if you're not into that, maybe you're like a Russian aggression team, you might all run AK-47s or whatnot. So it's really up to you. That's your call. Besides that, you gotta decide on training, right? Who's gonna train you guys, right? If you're not even up to training these guys, people are gonna be like, who the fuck is this guy trying to train us, right? You may decide to attend training sessions by either teams or individuals. I benefited highly from these types of trainings, where I've gone to team trainings from other teams who hosted public training events. I've gone to individuals who are military veterans who host these training events, who also take real steel courses and such. So those are some of the things, if you want to consider starting a team, you want to consider doing, because it's highly necessary. Now, finding these individuals. The easy way is obviously to post a recruiting thread on a forum, but I found that method to be generally not too effective. Ideally, you would have a small group of friends that are on the same wavelength as you as far as training, operational tempo, fitness, and whatever qualifications you feel is necessary. and you're on the same wavelength, and you all can agree on things. You're not gonna fight over every little fucking thing. Then from that circle, you attend events. People will see, wow, these guys are uniformed. These guys work together. They communicate together. Fire, move, shoot together. So I like to know these guys, right? And they might approach you guys, or you can, if you're social, which is definitely good to be, talk to people, meet people, right? And then when people ask, hey, what team you're on, you can say your team, you can say what you guys do, and you guys are recruiting and whatnot. So, and then there's the issue of candidacy. When you bring someone on, are they a full member or are they a candidate? As a candidate, they have no obligation to the team, besides that they want to be on the team and they are being considered for the team. They should be given X number of days or whatnot to obtain the gear and fulfill membership requirements, attendance requirements. Let's say you can give them 6 months, you can give them a year, you can give them 3 months, whatever you think is cool, right? At the end of that candidacy, they can be awarded the patch, they can be awarded the call sign and whatnot. So that's something that you need to consider, and then they have felt that they've earned something. Okay? So that's just what I've done in the past, and that's what I've seen other teams do. So it's something for you to consider. Now, as far as, again, going back to value in the Airsoft community, personally, I'm a huge advocate of not getting into Airsoft Facebook drama, rumors and all that shit. I've participated in it quite a bit myself, but if you get too deep into that shit, I assure you, your other areas of your life will deteriorate. And if you are particularly focused in the other areas of your life, me personally, I'm trying to get a new career off the ground, and getting into all this Airsoft drama shit on Facebook has been nothing but detrimental to that. I feel it's been sabotaging my efforts. If you're on particular Airsoft groups and all you're seeing people do is bullshitting, trolling, and joking around all day, and most of them are teenagers or young people, and you're someone in your 20s or whatever age you are who takes yourself seriously, you choose not to get involved with that shit, because why would you do that if you're trying to progress yourself in all areas of your life? So me personally, I would stick to gear groups where you can buy and sell stuff. You get great bargains from there. Also groups where they have high value conversations, whether it's tactics or talking about nods or equipment, stuff like that, right? Where it's you're actually learning something and not just bullshitting. All right. So I think I've pretty much covered how to join and start an Airsoft team. Another thing you want to think about when running an Airsoft team, it is usually better to be democratic about everything. I've personally been a little Hitler in my past team, and it didn't fly so well. You want everybody, the founding members, to be democratic about most decisions. It's okay to have an acting squad leader. Because national operations will say who's your squad leader, but most guys should have a democratic leadership style where, like, hey guys, these are our options. What do you guys want to do, right? And everyone decides on option A, B, C, whatever. Right? Because these are your boys, these guys you hang out with. And I personally agree with teams in the past that have said that, you can't be like, hey, I'm the squad leader and you gotta listen to my orders. I understand it does work in the military, that's how it's set up in most national operations, but it is my personal belief that the democratic leadership style is best. Now, that's just my take on it. Now, and that's how we do it in the current team I run with, right? And it just simply makes sense. As far as new decisions in the team, Same thing, democratic process, right? Hey, do we all want to run like this camouflage or that camouflage? Do we run all booting hats, or do we want to do this or that? Change the team SOPs of what we say, how we do things, tactics, gear, right? It all should be a vote thing. It shouldn't be like one guy saying, all right guys, from now on we're gonna do this and that and you must follow me. It just doesn't make sense. And the team's made up of many individuals who all have opinion on something, and each vote is important to that individual. Makes him feel like a valued member of the group, minus the candidates, right? Now whether you want the candidates to have voting power, that's something else to consider, right? Okay, now once again, going back to being a high value person in the Airsoft community, once again, it's so important. I can't stress this enough. Be an individual of integrity, honor, and values. Honesty, very important. Okay. Okay, we've seen recent events where teams' careers have ended as a result of this, and you always want to show yourself in the best light, right? Whether it's always having sportsmanlike conduct. Like me personally, I have never cussed out another player, right? The only thing I've yelled at someone is to, hey, get their head, or take a knee because they're blocking my fire and they're already dead. Or I might say to someone, hey, don't call someone else's hits, right? And if anyone has a question of my personal, if my hit calling, all they've got to do is watch my videos and you can see me call my hits like a motherfucker. Alright? This is inspired by Red Bull, by the way. His videos, he calls hits like a motherfucker, and that inspired me. I'm like, wow. No one can talk shit about this guy because it's all in the video. It's all there, right? So, I'm getting a little tired here, so I think 22 minutes is enough for you guys to listen to my fucking voice. So that's all I got for now, and this is my first little audio, call it a fucking podcast if you wish, but I'm gonna end my little speech right here. Alright? Have a good one, guys. Spears Milsim. Spears Milsim threat!